second as Nina's getting caught with some chains. Yeah. Yeah, Karma's really putting the pressure on here. Now, DD is a small area, but nonetheless, very easy to sneak about as the first gen gets done. Very nicely done at first. Nina trying to solve the puzzle. Karma trying to get a chain between, decides to let that go. And I forgot, we still have someone on hook here as another gen gets done.
Excellent. We're seeing Tori here trying to play Shaq as best as possible. Oh, excellent chain from Karma here. Is this a... Oh, this is definitely a down. We're waiting for the endurance, but yes, we do manage to get it. This is more of a standard set for Cenobite, as getting a second down by possibly a third gen popping is pretty standard, and a basement hook here might be very difficult for the survivors to get out of if we don't go for some crazy pull technique.
Just so unfortunate to get that basement hook. It's going to be very hard. I don't know if you just leave your fellow friend behind in the basement or you go for that. A lot of choices you can make there. 2 gens done, 3 remaining here as the chase goes forward with Zinni.
Yes, absolutely. We do go for a very, very quick pull here as it is needed. Cenobite could have just stayed on Shaq and tried to secure the death in basement, but either way, we are seeing Karma decide to still commit to our tunnel out. Most likely, it is our best choice here, as trying to leave this is a little difficult, especially with one survivor healthy here. But oh no, we are deciding to work it as an injured survivor, and this will most likely be a down. The snowball potential is really real here, especially with 2 other tags on the board, and we know that we cannot put our Tori in a difficult position.
Yeah, just a shame here. I think what Zinni was thinking about was as Cenobite was going up the stairs, thought he was going to fully commit to go to that second floor of the noose, but didn't. Instead went back down. Zinni got caught with her pants down pretty much. Got hit and hooked here. This is going to be a 3 hook stage with 2 fresh. Wait, with 2 gens done, 3 remaining.
Yes, absolutely. Sable is actually doing such an incredible job picking wet times to go for the box. Do we see a body block here? This would be... Okay, yes, we do. Karma technically not needing to, as he probably could have just gone around Sable, but a tag is still good on the board. And one thing I haven't really gotten to mention is that this build is really particular, since Hexes on this character is really, really strong. It's usually why it is banned across most leagues, but on this rule set, we do have Hexes allowed here. And it's going to help out Karma a lot with slowing the game down. Even though we lost our Ruin, that early game pressure, even by just a bit, is so helpful for Cenobite, especially as like a regular M2 killer.
No, absolutely, but luckily the survivors were able to get Ruin out of the way, which, goodness gracious, there are a lot of survivors that just leave it for so long. Zinni caught in the chain as they were going down, and they officially go down. This will be Zinni's second hook. Leaves overall 4 hook stays with 2 fresh. Not a great way as the scale slowly tipping onto the killers. Oh no, they're gonna go to the basement.
Oh my gosh, yes. This is another basement hook, and honestly, at this point, the Cenobite has a very interesting dilemma that we see in a lot of matches, where do we commit to try and just go for another stage if we know we're not going to get the 4K, or do we play a little bit more risky and see if we're able to stop progression / get a little bit more pressure on the board to maybe get some more freshes or along those lines, as really these kind of 1 gen 3 gen scenarios are a little bit unpredictable depending on how the survivors play it out.
No, that's a great question and a great enigma at the end of the day. What do you do here? Hopefully a situation just happens to come along in front of him. Zinni's still on the hook in the basement. Not sure if anybody's going to go for that. I don't know if from right here, as you said earlier, the options we have here, I would think the survivors just double up on a gen to get that last gen done and leave Zinni to die at the...
Oh, absolutely. We're seeing Karma just decide to commit here and just pressuring that 8 gen by using their power to maybe stop a little bit. Oh, we do manage to go behind Shaq at the perfect time as we see the power go up, and we do get the unhook from the basement. Now with this gen most likely at around like 60-70%. And this is looking honestly really up for the survivors. Getting that basement unhook was really, really strong. And again, excellent coordination from the survivors, from being able to exactly tell when the power is up to go for the unhook. That is one of those things that on the comms is really, really good for a team.
Yeah, I mean, I was with Cenobite. Never saw the survivor go to the basement to take off hook. I mean, that was a very good strategic ninja sort of way to get to the basement as Karma gets hit with a pallet to the face here as we are going back and forth trying to survive through this and get a longer chase, which happens, and the last gen goes off. This is gonna be bonkers at the end.
Karma deciding to play really, really well with the chains. Getting the right positions is just unfortunate since a little bit of RNG there did screw them over with the chains, and that is just one of the unfortunate characteristics of playing Cenobite. Sometimes your chains just don't go where they want to. Interesting hit there from our Nancy, as I'm not exactly sure how far Sable is able to get even off that. Yeah, we are not able to get anywhere safe. But, oh, a little bit of a funny miss swing. We do get the locker pull. That's going to be another fresh for the Cenobite. That is really, really nice just to be able to top it off of a pretty standard performance on what we usually see from a Cenobite set.
Agreed. Not the survivor they wanted. They were hoping for one of the other two that already had two hook states, but yet beggars cannot be choosers in this game. Once again, Cenobite, one of the hardest survivors. I think Karma did really well with the chains. It's just not a really stable survivor to get an automatic hit with the chains. Also going back and forth and the puzzle being solved. There's a lot of things going on. You had to be on top of things with Cenobite. And I think maybe some things were a little too much for Karma today.
Oh, I do agree with that. Karma just trying to secure maybe a second stage. Who knows? That will most likely be better. Just overall, it would just be a great thing for the Cenobite to get off here. Karma looking around, seeing if anyone's going to go for the save. We do have two survivors healthy on the board. I'm wondering if they're resetting. Yes, they are definitely resetting here to try and get this pull. It is a little bit more tricky with Cenobite, as you can potentially stop at least one action from the survivors. But if they break chains well, then they should be able to get this off.
Yeah, right now they're gonna do a two-person on chain. Vinny takes him on chain, does a 1-for-1 sacrifice. I don't know why Nina didn't come up to help and try to just take the lead and get the hit. But right now, trying to protect the president, gets the hit off. Zinni's still down. I'm not sure anybody's gonna go for the head on. Oh my goodness. You know what? If you go to a DD and don't see a head, I feel like that's sacrilegious. But that just happened right now. Zinni's going to be the one to sacrifice and take that kill. It's most likely because of the stakes that are there. So it's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 overall with 3 fresh states. Not bad.
Yes, I really do agree with that, especially because that is more or less, as I mentioned earlier, if the survivors are coordinated enough, then for them it should be a little bit of a predictable set. And we do see the survivor gameplays coming through, dodging many of the chains and being able to keep their cool even when it looked like a little bit of snowball potential with 2 basement hooks. So excellent job from the survivors here, just maintaining their composure, and we'll be right back to see what happens next on our killer switch.
Welcome back. We are on our second half of our set with Cenobite. It is Arcadia versus Aphelion. Oh, I probably said that totally wrong. My apologies on that. I'm Zero. I'm here with Emmy. Emmy, what does Cenobite need in this as far as medals go?
Thank you for passing it over. I'm excited to cast with you once again. One of the most fascinating things I think we're seeing here is the build change. We're seeing Agitation, Bam, Painless, and Corrupt. And this is the standard Cenobite build. This is the one that you see all of the top players use. You'll see it in almost every Cenobite set. And I find it interesting because almost most players, like most comp players, would agree that hexes are way stronger on this killer if they are allowed. And we know that it is allowed for metal. And oh my gosh, the BAM value already going crazy and such a fast down. even though hexes are better, most likely Metal is just more accustomed to this build, as it's probably what they've scrimmed for this entire time they've been in comps. So honestly, I think it is very fascinating to see comfortability versus like what is considered better in the literal sense.
I think you're absolutely right. Hexes are better, especially with Cenobite. Here's the issue, though. On DD, it is such a small place. Plus, the hexes there are usually, if you're really good and you played a lot of tournaments, usually in the same place. So to use the hex, I don't know how beneficial it is in this particular location. So that's where the problem comes to be, especially using Cenobite in that degree. But mind you, Metal's not having any issues right now as they are able to get their first hook here with Ryobe. Not sure if they'll keep him on, as now he's going to go for his second chase as he is able to hook one of the survivors.
I absolutely agree, and Metal's already doing off to a great start, and knowing that we can probably just go back to hook to try and see if we find a rotation. The survivors with such an early hook are a little bit of a predicament, as if Metal is able to play well off of their chains and they're able to play chase efficiently, then this should be another quick down unless we have a body block to break chains. It is so crucial right now for the survivors to have be locked on comms, as otherwise, again, this could be a fast down, and that would just be a very, very unfortunate position for the survivors. I guess right now we're just seeing body blocks come in. We are taking the tag, and let's see if Metal can decide to close this out.
Yeah, it's happening pretty fast. Gens are being done. Right now, there's a gen at about 90% being done. Another one at about 45. We're going to see if we can get one. Yes, we do. We get one gen done. Another gen is being done. A chase is occurring. Ryobe is on the ground. Not sure if he's going to... if Metal is going to go for that. So you get a second hook. Try to get closer to a 3v1. It looks like we are finally going to pick up, make sure nobody's around to get pallet down as they get their second hook, Ryobe.
Metal deciding to get this second hook off, and unfortunately we don't have pain res anymore as we already used it on our first one. But one pain res already on the board is so much value for this killer, and absolutely fantastic job to Metal for being able to confirm the down despite the survivors trying to come in for body blocks, which can be very detrimental to Cenobite on good pathing. Metal did an excellent job at keeping the survivors in the same position and not giving them anything for free. I think it was a little bit of a mistake to stay top 11. Maybe it was a comms to keep it over there for gen progress, but unfortunately in this kind of position, you just need to prioritize keeping your tunnel out surviving as long as possible.
Yeah, we gotta be very careful here. Metal doesn't need too much to kind of win this set here. With previous being a 6 with 3 fresh, if he's able to get a 6 with 4 fresh or a 7 with 3 fresh, he's able to win the set as a whole. So not too much of a challenge as long as they keep it the basics. Doing a great job here as a Ryobe is on the second hook. This will be Karma's first hook, so 2 fresh with 3. So right now, Metal with a great start.
Metal knowing the exact key positions that they need to hold to be able to possibly have a 3-gen up here. Yes, we're seeing a 3-gen on top left, and one hook here is really, really disastrous for the survivors, as our win con is, like you mentioned earlier, slowly being met here. So Metal absolutely understanding the game sense, knowing we can just secure this spot, as even if gen progress is going on in the background with what our win con is at 3 gens specifically, it low-key doesn't matter how fast these survivors are able to pop these gens. If we just keep this 3 gen, it's not like they can just magically appear on one of those top gens to be able to secure basically the breakage of the 3 gen. So Metal has no incentive really to leave this spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping Karma hostage here pretty much, as some of the survivors are surrounding the areas, trying to pick a time and place to get Karma out of there, meaning Karma is an essential piece to them getting out of here successfully. Finally, someone, S9, is able to take Karma off the hook. I don't know if it's going to be worth it at the end, as now S9 is being chased
at Shack as well. This is one of those sort of plays on Shack that you are actually able to outplay in Metal, almost managing to get the chains there. If he got lucky chain spawns, he definitely could have gotten the down. It is a little bit 50-50, as sometimes the chains can just spawn in unfortunate spots, and even though you hit the survivor head on, it might not be able to confirm in a down. But Metal definitely still might make this. Yes, Metal does make it around Shaq. That BAM value has been just absolutely insane. And oh my gosh. Oh!
No!
That was so
Agitation
tragic.
working at its best there, let me tell you.
Oh my gosh, you are so correct. I did not realize that that agi value might have just saved Metal. I can't believe what I just saw.
It was close. It was close. Let's see. Metal is going back. It's going to take the pallet out of Killer Shack here. Gonna see if they can get somebody. Ooh, 4 pistons roaring. Probably close to 90% done. Gonna make sure he's gonna kick that pallet for sure here. I set up to take Winter down. As another gen gets done, we have 3 gens with 2 remaining. 3 fresh hook states with 4 hooks all together.
Metal deciding to go back on 11 to make sure to try and secure. Realistically, the win con, it is very, very close to being met, and all we really need is a couple more stages to be able to secure this. Metal, with such an excellent head start, really showing how one good head start on this M2 can really take you home. And the endurance is most likely run out. Yes, it has.
Yeah, that's just hard. It's just very hard. And Metal's doing such a great job at putting them at this corner hook or in the middle where the noose is, which is really, oh, he's gonna do a new one right here, but they're so far away from everything. It just makes it very hard for the survivors to take the time to get there to the hook. Their particular friend here on the hook. It makes it harder for them for gen wise to get gens done, and takes a lot of time, which is all beneficial to Metal right.
Absolutely excellent point. Metal knowing that they can just stick it here on this 3-gen. This is really, really tragic for the survivors. As having a hook here, realistically, we most likely, here's something that I've learned, at least from playing comp with my own teammates, is something that I never thought about before. Is realistically, if you know you are going to go down, or if you are in a bad spot, it does not matter if you take the down, as long as you take it away from 3-gen or are able to allow, you're forced the killer into your playing cards to try and hook away from 3-gen. So most likely it should have just been a down further down the map than trying to play the pallet on top here, because even if you last, you are still in giving the killer a very nice hook to be able to position themselves, and we are seeing Metal just try to secure this hook state on the death hook.
Yeah, right now S9 on death, knocking on death's door, but able to get unhooked, but the price paid as Karma goes down here. Not sure that was worth the squeeze or worth the juice, as they say. Ryobe gets hit as they try to sacrifice their time and their body to help out as much as they can here. If they put Karma on, almost, but not enough for the fireworks to work. This leads officially to Icon. If one more hook is made, that would be WinCon for Aphelion.
Metal has done such a fantastic job with game sense, getting early downs, and really showing us how a more traditional build can sometimes give you the mileage. And like you said, we just need one more hook here from realistically anybody, and it's very, very difficult for Nancy, as we mostly use almost all of top resources, and unless the survivors come in here to try and get a body block to keep the survivor alive as long as possible, I'm not sure if we are going to be able to secure it. Yes, Metal doing an excellent decision to try and not to commit to what is possibly a harder chase, knowing that realistically we just need one single person down, and taking any chase that is available from an unfortunate position from the survivors is going to be a big deal here. And we are seeing Metal decide to commit to the ace. It is incredibly tense, as we do know that this one hook can mean everything.
Yeah, this is everything on the line right here, as Ryobe is getting chased. To Metal, probably the easiest. Not trying to put Ryobe down. It's just Metal seems to have the best luck taking Ryobe down, as this happens right now. I know Winter came in tried to take the hit for them, but did not work successfully. Finally, the last gen goes, but sadly, it's too late.
Metal securing that hook, probably with a big smile on their face and a little bit of cheers maybe in their team VC, knowing that they just secured an excellent win for their team on this first set, especially with a set as volatile or slash predictable as Cenobite. Being able to keep your composure, seeing the last win condition, and just securing the kills, the downs, and the hook positions that we need to be able to secure it is so fantastic from Metal. I am absolutely so happy to see Cenobite's successful gameplay. That is, some people underestimate it, really, when you're put in a tight position on this character. And we'll be right back to see our next set go. And let's see if we get any more interesting results. Be right back.
Welcome back. We are in the second set as we're gonna play a Ghoul here in the second set, Arcadia versus Aphelion, with Aphelion being first at crack at killer. I'm zero. You're Emmy. Emmy, how do you feel about Ghoul?
Oh, I'm so excited that you asked because Ghoul is such a fascinating character. You know, this is a character that starts with such an explosive start, and then the middle of the game depends on how well the survivors play their tiles. Obviously, with Ghoul, you can get injuries extremely quickly, and there's really not much the survivors can do to avoid a bunch of injuries right off the bat. But if they play their tiles correctly, as in playing safe, not giving free downs or not giving fast downs, then this character honestly looks a lot more tame compared to what you might see at the higher levels with such explosive killers.
Yeah, it's right now doing a good job taking a bite off of S9 right here, trying to apply pressure as they go to the main building. Not going to take second floor, going to wrap around here. Can see the trails, trying to figure out where Winter is in particular. Getting the pallet out of the way. We're going to go full on Winter, try to get that bite first, and then try to get a hit as S9, or I'm sorry, excuse me, Winter.
Yes, I did see that, and that was a little bit of a misplay, but our Ghoul player here just deciding to leave the chase. What we usually see from the standard set, just getting a bunch of injuries right off the board. This will be interesting if we decide to commit Karma, as they have a lot of resources on this left side of the map. Preferably, you always prefer to chase on, I would say, like, bottom area, since realistically, the only strong structure around there is Shack. There's a decent amount of I would say half safe fillers, but as I say that, this Ghoul player absolutely understanding the exact tightness of how close you could be to the survivor for the hit, as that was kind of a crazy hit.
That was it is very tight corner that Karma had to play to make it. It wasn't in the cards as Karma vaulted, did not make it. We have Ghoul going around making sure everybody feels of the pressure from the killer and will take a bite out of anybody that's nearby. It looks like Ryobe will be that person as the bite has been taken.
Yeah, getting this early down and also being able to get a couple injuries already on the board is really, really good for the Ghoul player. And we did see turn back the clock value earlier. I always think it's a little bit of a straight... Oh my gosh! Okay.
What is going on?
That was really fascinating because with the recent Ghoul changes, I believe the timing of it has gotten slightly different. And so it's possible that this ace was not accustomed to the newer timing that you have to pull off. But quite an unfortunate down at Shack, especially with such a strong tile. And if the Ghoul player decides to go back and break Shack pallet, that is already a loss of one of our strongest resources on the map. Really, really tragic for the survivors here.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think just a misplacement of timing and figuring out what's going on as Ryobe just kind of stood there and took that hit. Not in a good way either, as now we have Karma being chased here. They're playing a pallet. Goes back around, takes the door on the side here. Not sure if that's the best play. Ghoul is trying to work this out here. Really, I just want to say Karma doing a great job of looping him on the first floor. Now we're in the second floor, playing at that pallet as they're going to go back down into the first floor as a gen gets done with 4 remaining.
Yes, absolutely. And it's really fascinating because this is actually really, really excellent pathing from the Nancy here. Perfectly understanding how to use main to stay alive as long as possible. And Ghoul having to let go of that chase even on a tunnel out is really, really unfortunate. Unless we try to find the ace, which we might just waste a bunch of time if the survivors do decide to stealth it out to prevent their tunnel out. So this is was looking like a pretty unfortunate positioning for the survivors, has now turned around to look like a really, really unfortunate state for the Ghoul player.
Oh, I am 100% with you on that, but I think it was a good decision to peel out. You don't want to stay on a survivor for so long because everything around you is still moving. Nothing is staying in place, meaning the gens are working, people are healing while you're chasing a very good survivor. Oh, he misses in a critical hit. Could have just helped tremendously as Winter's able to get by a pixel.
I'm actually curious to know if maybe the School player isn't as comfortable on this map, since on that tile you can basically just force a almost guaranteed 50-50 to hit the survivor. And it was fascinating earlier because we weren't willing to break this really strong pallet, despite that one being the extremely way more dangerous pallet for wasting time. And this is able to be bloodlusted if we do see it, and no. Okay, we just lose the 50 as the survivor knows that eventually bloodlust will come in. So we'll maybe try to gain distance and play a little bit of 50-50s. Two gens popping at the moment, and I see that another gen most likely is going to pop if it is not our pain res value. Do we manage to see this gen popping before the pain res comes in? It's going to be really
I
close.
think so.
Oh,
Oh, they're gonna wait. I can't. Oh, they were so close. I don't know if waiting was anything, but they waited nonetheless. They're gonna be able to pop that off. We got 3 hook stays, 3 fresh. Uh, Ghoul doing a tremendous job, but still, I think the survivors are still having the advantage here.
I do see that, in fact, because we do see another injury come on the board with 4 survivors injured. This is a lot more scary, as now you can no longer guarantee safe gen prog if the Ghoul is able to get this quick down and snowball a little bit. The survivors have to... Oh! Quite an unfortunate use of power there, as that is really what we don't want to give to the survivor for extra distance. But there's not too many resources around main now, so this might just be... Oh, the balance landing coming in super clutch. This is a huge time waste for the killer, and this is a really interesting window to play, as it is very, very safe if played correctly. Fantastic job by this Claudette on being able to waste as much time as possible, and it is a little bit of an unfortunate down with the window being blocked.
Yeah, just the three time is not a charm when it comes to windows around here. As Winter goes down, they will get their second hook. The survivors are working around some. I think Ryobe is the one that is the only one that's fully healed. Is S9 has 1 hit on them. So does Karma. They're really gonna have to work together to get these last remaining gens. As we have a chase down happening with S9 currently, but Ghoul takes a pallet to the face.
We are deciding to leave that. Very smart decision by the Ghoul player, knowing that we cannot waste time on freshes anymore, and if we get this down on this Claudette, maybe it can be a 4K0 if the survivors have efficient gen progress. We are deciding to go back to Shack, although we do know that this Shack is already dropped. Yeah, deciding not to go for it and just try and play the Pallet Gym. Was that a little bit of a miscomm? I'm not sure, since that Pallet Gym being down, this is going to force a 50 for the Ghoul. Really good positioning for the Ghoul. It is an unfortunate down, and like I mentioned earlier, that Shack pallet being down at the start was... It really could have come into play at any time during the game, and we do see it come in there, as we're not able to fully go to Shack without risking getting hit on the vault.
Yeah, I think the survivors are doing such a tremendous job, but we're slowly figuring out that Aphelion and the killer playing for Aphelion knows Ghoul very well and is learning this map very well, and it's just not doing any benefits like Arcadia. Winter doing a great job running around, so is Karma. But right now, Ghoul seems to have every bit of the advantage.
Yes, we are deciding to get another injury for our power, deciding to stick by main, knowing that the survivors might try to hop back on it once we do leave this area. Do we have a 3 gen? I'm not exactly sure We have a lot of gens close to each other, so I do believe it's a 3-gen in mid, including main. So this is really, really unfortunate for the survivors. Having a 3-gen like this is really disastrous, especially with a character as explosive as Ghoul, because he can just take the tags, leave the area, and immediately hop onto another survivor.
Oh, another unfortunate. Karma really working it, making sure that Ghoul is gonna work hard for every inch that they try to gain in trying to get Karma themselves. As the last gen gets done, now it's time for that freedom run and opening that door and getting the heck out of Dodge. We're gonna see if any of the survivors are left standing to get out of this particular map.
Yes, absolutely fantastic job deciding to go back and just risk the double up, since it could have been really, really risky, as if Ghoul managed to go back on injured survivors on main, we probably could have seen a 4k1, but just wasting a little bit of 20 seconds from the Nancy decided this entire game's outcome, and most likely we're going to see, I would like to believe this would be a death on hook unless our survivors go for a crazy pull. The Ghoul decided to just try and go for any more hook stages, which is a little bit interesting, as we could totally secure probably another stage from the hook, but it is kind of up to the Ghoul's decision to what they feel like more comfortable playing, but at this point we're just definitely playing for any more stages that we can get.
I mean, right now you're playing against Karma. Karma, one of the best loopers we got on this team here, really working it pretty well. Doors open, at least 2 survivors can get out if Karma's not able to, and they are down. Yep, and the 2 survivors are out. This makes it an 8 with 4 fresh.
I absolutely love seeing the Mori here, as this character's Mori is a little bit fascinating, as most of the Moris are. We always do appreciate a good Mori here. Now we are going to swap over from our teams to see how our other Ghoul performs, and it's going to be really interesting with this very good win con. So we'll be right back.
All right, ladies and gents, welcome back. We're in our second half of our second set. The killer being Ghoul, specifically Nina from Arcadia, as Arcadia versus Aphelion. Aphelion, one killer, they were able to do a 8 hook for fresh. Had to get better than that to get the win here. I'm Zero. I'm here with Emmy. Emmy, what's going on here? What does the survivors need to do?
Thank you for
area in the
an excellent analysis, Zero. I always love when you mention the win condition, as I believe you are excellent at keeping track of that. Karma decided to go for a swing here, and from what I'm thinking for the survivors is they need to play their resources correctly. They need to not give free tags like that, and we need to stay as composed as possible on every tile. Just squeeze every single second out of every chase that you have. If we do that, then we are definitely going to be able to get outs here and meet the win condition. Absolutely excellent gameplays from this Tori already, but unfortunate down, and that is relatively a similar down to what we saw earlier, but this gen progression is really, really good from the survivors.
Yeah, Knack going down right there, taking the first hook. First fresh state, one at least 8 that need to be done to get this win for Arcadia, as they're gonna work hard to get this second. You know, the first hook is kind of simple. It's always the second hook that seems to be the problem here. Let's see if they Karma can carry on the momentum, as now we're in a full chase with Metal.
We are seeing another tag onto the Sable here. The Ghoul doing an excellent job maintaining the pressure, and this is something where you can tell from good Ghouls to great Ghouls, as a really great Ghoul will, the game sense will absolutely carry them to stardom, as I like to say, as being able to take all of these tags here is really crucial, and as me saying that, it is really unfortunate not to get the power there, as we really do need this kind of enraged state for the Ghoul to keep up if we want to maintain this win con.
Yeah, doing a good job of making sure of that, but I don't know if Karma's really providing the pressure necessary for this to continue, even though right now got Nina pretty good here. I'm not sure No, he doesn't continue pursuit here. Instead, he goes to the second floor of the building, knowing that the gen is pretty high right now. As it looks like almost a fourth piston is just starting out there. It must be around 70% at the very least, as he's still in the main building.
Yes, absolutely. Karma deciding to just check around, seeing if we can find any vulnerable survivors here. Another tag on this Nancy here, and we are seeing that the survivors are playing really, really well, just keeping their team alive, not giving anything up for free. And really funny to come back to see a blind there on the spectator POV.
It's just one of those things that it's small, but it can be very annoying and time consuming after a while, especially when it's your third or fourth one that gets you while you're hitting a gen there. Trying to lock on. Oh, he gets a very vital spot as they were trying to reset underneath the tubes there. Did not work in their favor. Now we have a full-on chase here versus Nag here. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get through, and they do not as they go down. This will be the second hook state.
Second hook stay here on our tunnel out is really, really tragic as well. As despite possibly 2 more gens popping, if we continue this momentum that we're already having on some of these chases for the Ghoul player, then we can absolutely meet this win con. Beautiful, beautiful slide there from the Ghoul. Perfect distance. Unfortunately, we don't get the window block, but being able to still catch up to the Sable and forcing down on Shack Pallet means our survivors have way, way less resources to work with on bottom here.
Absolutely. We're still leaving the survivor on hook. Not sure if you're going to take that survivor route or you're going to just sacrifice him to get a gen done. Oh, but wow, we just got a second gen done. So 3 remaining. Right now, Nina is on the spot as they get bitten here. Going to go back to the survivor that's on hook as they try to take them off. And the run commences. Most likely, they're going to try to get that 3v1 as soon as possible.
And a 3v1 here would be so excellent for the Ghoul. A really unfortunate vault, but most likely on that tippy toe of the endurance for our Sable player here, or our Tori, excuse me.
Oh.
But either way, we are seeing a body block come from Sable just to try and protect this player as long as possible who is on death hook. And main is with a couple of resources left, a lot of decently strong pallets here. Excellent choice by the Sable with the flashlight. Having the survivor here with the flashlight to waste as much time as possible is probably the best play that we can have from these survivors here.
Unbelievable. Just I'm sorry to bother you. It's just unbelievable. Oh no. Oh, how unfortunate and how unlucky.
Yes.
And I think Karma was picked by the dead body in the corner, but we're not going to talk about that.
Wow, and we are getting a slug here, most likely. Enforcing luck, really smart from the survivors here. How much gen prog do we see on the map? We are already seeing another gen about to pop, and is this a PR? Yes, it is, and it's just on time to stop another gen from progressing. Excellent job to the Ghoul player here, managing to keep the pressure despite it looking really, really grim. Instant unhook. We are going to try and stop this gen from progressing. Very, very good job from the Ghoul here.
Yeah, doing a great job here, but mind you, that whole chase scenario took so long to accomplish that the other survivors were able to get a good enough progression with the gen, so the pressure's really on. Ooh, a bad 50-50 by Zinni as they pay the price and go down. Right away, we're not going to pick up Zinni. Instead, we're going to go back up, most likely thinking that they're going to get a Knack, who is already 2 in it, get that third to get that 3v1. I think that's what they're trying to do. They seem to be going back to the body. Oh, the gen was able to pop by working two of the survivors working on that particular gen, doing a great job here as Nina be on full chase.
This is not looking good at all for the Ghoul player. And as you mentioned earlier, that one chase that we did see at main with a flashlight is basically everything that these survivors need to keep their momentum up. I'm sure they're in quite high spirits knowing that if they still play correctly, don't get free downs, then we are able to probably secure another gen pop. Maybe not right now, but definitely in the future. Sable player being found here, but with SB is going to be able to reach safety. Unfortunate that this pallet is not on the correct side for them, and that is an excellent down from Karma here.
Now, I want to remind you, I mean, even with this right here, that's only 4 hook states with 1 gen remaining. and we're only halfway to what we need for a win con. So it's whew, we're not looking too good for the killer this current moment.
Oh, I really like that you pointed that out, as halfway is definitely a really rough amount, especially at this point in the game. But hey, I've seen crazier things happen, and unfortunately for this ace here, also maybe not knowing the new timings on that Ghoul vault and taking a free tag. But like I said, Ghoul is a very explosive character, and if we see a quick down on any of our tunnel out players here, it could be really disastrous for them regardless of how fast the gens go.
Yeah, Ghoul is just a hard killer to go against because of the speed and able, especially in an open area like that, able to go across the map so violently and quickly. This makes it hard for any survivor to have any type of peace, whether it's to do a gen or to heal themselves or heal others.
Really smart from the survivors here to just try and double this gen, and because we know if we are able to pop another gen, it puts the Ghoul in an almost unwinnable position. But we do take another tag, and with 4 tags on the board, this could easily snowball from any single down or a slug or a kill on one of the tunnel outs. I am really tense knowing that this game is on the verge of possibly being won or lost.
Yeah, I think they're okay with Zinni being downed here. I know that's pretty critical, but that is better than Metal and Knack being down and being out of the game entirely and getting that 3v1. So it still works in their favor. They're still working the gen. This is still looking good, and the advantage is still to the survivor.
Definitely it's an uphill battle for the Ghoul player, but getting another hook on the board and being able to get our PR value is so excellent, because we know that any slight stoppage of this gen is going to be really good for the Ghoul player. Turn back the clock, also getting value. We've been seeing a lot of value from our perks, especially with Eruption on characters like as fast as Ghoul. This is really fantastic for the survivors. If this Sable is not able to stay alive for very long, this could be disastrous for them if they're not already doubling this gen.
Yeah, able to escape that metal by the skin of their teeth right there. Amazing chase. Very subtle, but very quick. And it worked out in their favor. As right now, Ghoul's in a tough situation where the gens are laid out. A lot of the gens are in high percentage. It's just a matter of time for the survivors to get one of these gens popped. The pressure is really on Ghoul right now, and Karma is feeling it.
This is one of those scenarios that really tests your wits on the killer side. How fast are you able to stay composed? Is your game sense strong enough to be able to down key positions and keep survivors on their feet on not being able to complete these gens as fast as possible? We are seeing another hook stay here toward our win con, and we only have one gen being progressed right now at 50%. So even though it's still on the survivors to be able to win this, this is looking more and more possible every second for the Ghoul player.
Yeah, no denying that at all. Karma is just slowly chugging along, slowly doing the comeback that is necessary to get this win going so they can go into game 3. As right now, I think they're going to go back around hook as Zinni gets off hook currently. Oh, Nina gets caught. Nina's already injured. This is not looking good. They're seeing if they could take somebody. Oh no. I told you, this gets very, you get very agitated with that after a while.
Beautiful block on the window there from Karma. It's one of those things as Ghoul that one single block on that window can mean everything. And taking a look around the map, we only have one gen at 80%. It is going to be another PR coming through. PR getting this is like basically every killer's dream of how PR is going to get value, stopping a 3 gen or really any gens from being... Wait, is this a double? No, it is not. We are seeing 2 separate gens being progressed here. So this is looking like it's going to be a pop from the survivors unless something crazy happens.
Now, right now, if Karma's able to hook one more person, that would bring up Tycon, and if he's able to hook another person afterwards, that would bring WinCon to Arcadia.
Thank you for pointing that out. This is really close. And as I mentioned earlier, it was looking really down for the killer player, but maintaining our composure and a little bit of miscomms from the survivors on just not being able to do gens as quickly as what we would usually see on these Ghoul sets is going to possibly cost them everything.
Yeah, this is gonna be very crucial right here. Last gen was popped here, and looks like they're trying their best to help Knack here and trying to survive here, so all four of them can get it. You can see a doors being worked on already. There seems to be one person in Killer Shack. It's gonna be Nina. This is gonna be a oh my goodness, this is gonna be very critical on what happens right now.
Oh my gosh, we are taking a tag on the Sable. This is going to be out by the skin of their teeth if they are able to get it. This is so intense knowing that these hook states matter. Everything. Can you remind us, Zero, how do we have to meet WinCon here?
Yeah, so right now he's at 7 hook states. He needs 8 to get a tie. Anything above that, that would be a win for the killer. And let me tell you, they are trying everything in their power here. Oh no, Zinni able to heal up and take advantage, trying to get a flashlight in the eyes here. Oh my god.
No.
Oh no, it did not work in their favor. I don't even know what happened. I thought they were close to getting out. Trying to do a flashlight save, trying to do everything they can to not get this hook, but I think it's just a far conclusion.
Wait, is that a win for Killer?
That is a win, Kong, because that would make
wow. That make it 9 stages,
make it
no?
9 with 4 fresh. That'd be a win for Arcadia, and that would make it 1-1. We're going to game 3.
Wow, we were just mentioning earlier how much pressure was on that killer to be able to secure that win, if even possible. And we saw that was such a crazy end game, as the blind was absolutely insane from the survivor side, knowing exactly when to do it for the vault. But we needed to keep that survivor alive, and unfortunately for the survivors, the Ghoul just managed to take a leap of faith with the swing and just managed to get the ace right at the perfect timing. So very, very...
Yeah, I wish I could have seen the survivor's point of view, because I just don't know what happened. They were so close to the exit. I just don't know what happened there. They weren't able to.
It's all good. We'll be right back.
Here we are, the tiebreaker pretty much for set 3. This is Krasue. Karma up first from Arcadia. This is Arcadia versus Aphelion. I'm Zero. I'm here with Emmy. Emmy, we're here on the set 3. How well do you like this killer?
Well, I definitely would... Oh, okay, sorry. That was a little bit of a really funny play at starting off this game, as we did see the Tori decide to lick the wall a little bit. So I got a little sidetracked, but either way, Krasue is a very fascinating character. It is very much up to everyone's opinion on how strong this character is, as taking good body blocks against this killer, being able to coordinate well with your team, and not giving free downs is really vital in a set like this, as if you're able to keep your survivors alive for as long as possible, Krasue really starts to struggle near the mid game. But what you don't want to see is early downs like this and miss comms on giving free hits, as we're already going to see that the match is starting off really well for the Krasue, and it can snowball if the survivors do not play it correctly.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you have to know with Krasue, between when to eat the mushrooms, when to figure out what they can do, when depending on if they're floating spaghetti or they're the regular bodies. So there's a lot that goes into this.
I like that you mentioned floating spaghetti, as I never saw it that way, but now I will not.
You know what? My wife plays this game. That's what she says. She says it's just floating spaghetti.
I'm definitely not gonna unsee that every time I see the body form, but either way, we are seeing one hook on hill here. A little bit tragic for the survivors, as this hook on the hill can really determine everything if Karma decides to just camp it. We are deciding to take our free hits with our power, and these survivors need to stay on top of eating their mushrooms, since staying, up and healthy in this set, in terms of eating your mushrooms, is going to be really, really vital for these survivors. If we do not have anyone who is clean off of the infection, then it is really rough for these survivors to take hits for each other.
Absolutely, and I think Knack has already learned that, as they have already taken a hit from not eating a mushroom at all. So it's just becoming difficult for them currently. Zinni might be in the same stature. Oh my goodness, a gen pops off right there. I thought something like 2 gens. There's only 1 gen here. So good added pressure back to the killer as they only have 1 hook state. They're bouncing off the blood to make sure they get infected right away. As Zinni takes their partner Nina off the hook, but not without paying a price.
Our Krasue player deciding to go for our tunnel out, which is an excellent decision since we only saw 1 gen pop earlier, and we do know that there's no other gens with high prog at the moment. And this is exactly what I mean. When survivors play well and you're able to stay coordinated, then it is really rough to get it down if the survivors continue with their body blocks. But oh no! Our Renato just not with unfortunate positioning. And oh my gosh, we do see that third person on Krasue come in handy, being able to perfectly see a survivor for a pallet save. And again, this is just really important for this team as the Renato just was totally able to at least play a 50 there, but just giving a really, really fast down, not being able to position themselves accordingly. And do we see a pallet save? No, we don't.
That was risky. That was risky because metal was still around there. I don't know if I would have done that, but hey, took the risk, and luckily nothing happened. Able to get that hook. We have 2 hook saves on Nina, close to getting that 3v1.
Sometimes getting that little bit of a gamble is definitely worth it, as if the survivors are not able to get the pallet save, then you waste the time of anyone who's around, and you also get a really nice hook state. So right now, having 2 stages on the board at 4 gens, even if there's high gen progress somewhere else, is honestly really, really good result for Krasue, to be honest, as by this point in the game, we should have had probably 2 or 3 gens popped with maybe a potential tunnel out, but even then, we've just been seeing a lot of miscoordination from the survivors. Maybe not fully comfortable in a Krasue set, as this character is like almost hardly played anywhere. So I cannot fully blame the survivors if they are not have been able to be as locked as maybe they would be on other sets.
Yeah, I can't agree with you anymore. It's just kind of a valid point here. I don't think they get enough practice with a Krasue and playing in that degree. Right now, Nina is to take a nice close look at the entity in the sky as they die and get off map, and the 3v1 is commencing in this map. And right now, the next victim seems to be Zinni.
Another basically kill on the board at this amount of gens is really, really hard for the survivors to come back from, as now you can no longer take safe hits for the Krasue. We do miss our swing there, but you know, I mentioned earlier that it is, you technically can still take hits even with a 3v1, but now it becomes a really big time waster as you need as many survivors on a 3v1 as possible on gens. So you basically trade keeping a survivor alive for gen efficiency, and that's just not what you want to see.
You know what? Something we didn't notice, or at least I didn't notice, was Ruins was on the board for a bit. So, I mean, between trying to get away from the floating spaghetti and having Ruins, man, just in the beginning must have been extremely difficult. But they're able to get another gen. They got 3 gens done, the 2 remaining. As right now we have, I think Zinni is being on chase right now.
Krasue unfortunately missing a vital swing there, but with a 3v1, we know that we have a lot of time to spare, especially because this is already such a really, really decent result, as usually on this character, it's not uncommon to see 4 or 5 stages with really good coordinated survivor gameplay. So honestly, really well done to Karma, capitalizing a lot on survivor mistakes and understanding the strengths of Krasue when the survivors misplay. So this is going to be very hard for the survivors to come back from, but Karma is going to find the Nancy here, and we're trying to get our infection off first to be able to get this down.
Run, Zinni, run! Trying to get across the corner here. Already infected with 1 hit. Right now, Karma's just trying to get it at the right tempo, right timing. Zinni's doing a good job of playing the 50-50s, getting around the rocks, but just not good enough as Karma's able to take them down and going to be able to get this hook. This will be 3, 4, 5 with 3 fresh.
Really, really good result from Karma here, being able to maintain the pressure from the survivor mistakes that we saw earlier in the game. We have no real prog on any of these gens. Survivors really need to grab these mushrooms and stay alive if they are take good tags for, if they take basically bad tags for the killer, it'll be really, really unfortunate for them. We really need to keep our composure here and possibly secure at least one other gen down, as at this point in the game, I'm not sure if popping 2 gens is possible. Most likely we're going to see a 4K one.
Your job as a survival right now is to get another gen popped, so we make this a 4K1 worst case, and makes it even harder for when the switch happens. They, or Karma and the team, become survivors. That's your job. That's what you should be thinking about right now. I don't know if that equals leaving Zinni on the hook, or somehow finding a way to get Zinni off the hook. But one way or another, they have to at least get one more gen. A head-on happens out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was a really, really funny head-on to see there, as a little bit of a jump scare on our spectator POV, not really expecting that. And shoutouts to our Sable player. Like you mentioned earlier, Zero, popping this gen is really a priority on Shaq. And that's exactly, Sable must have heard you on the comms, since Sable right now is just deciding to lock in on the Shaq, seeing if we can pop this gen. Did go for the hook, the unhook, but immediately trying to get back on Shaq. And this down could mean everything for Krasue.
Yeah, we got... They want it bad enough, and they're going to get it. It's just not the greatest. Oh no, overplays their hand as they cross over and get this down. This will be second for Knack. Just not overall looking good right now. Like I said, they've got to just team up, get a gen done, and get it going to get that worst case scenario of 4K1.
We are seeing Krasue finding the Nancy here, trying to go for the unhook. But do we decide to leave it or commit? It's a little bit of a tricky choice for the Krasue, as, you know, they don't have our spectator POV. They are unable to see exactly how high the gen is, which, if I check right now, it will be about 80%. So popping this gen is really, really great for the survivors despite such a rough start. If we are able to pop this gen, most likely we won't be popping anymore, but securing that one more gen for the win con is really, really great.
And it looks like we're able to take a survivor off hook. They're able to get the gen done here. So now we got one gen remaining, not far from reality, to see if they can actually get that one gen.
Mind games like this are always really funny to see on Krasue, as because of Krasue's range, the 50s change a little bit on tiles than what you expect. But excellent showcase from Tori that if you know exactly where the range of the Krasue is, you're able to stay alive a decent while, honestly. Even when you're injured with no mushrooms, you can do a lot against this character if you know the exact positioning. Something that really helps is taking the time with a Krasue player to understand the range. That seems to help a lot of teams being able to understand, as, again, this character is just almost never played, so it's kind of hard in the first place to find a Krasue player to practice with, but there's a lot that people at home can learn from watching this set.
Now, I kind of like what Karma did earlier. Karma did a full chase earlier with one of the survivors and decided, even though they got a hit, even though it would have been easy to get that second hit, decided to leave and peel off and go towards the gens. Karma knows where the priorities are, and that's to make sure that no other gen is done.
Yes, if the survivors pop another one, this would be really, really tragic for the Krasue, especially with such good positioning for the Krasue player to be able to stop these gens. Unfortunately, not able to get these downs as easily as they were in the early game, and it might cost them the gen prog, as we do see the Nancy working a gen that is about 70%, but our Krasue with great game sense going to go check on it, and with an injured Nancy here, it's looking like it's going to be a down in head form.
Yeah, just a crushing blow here, as they're going to turn back to the regular mode here, try to get this. No, they are not going to get that pallet to the face. Zinni goes down again, and Karma decides not to pick Zinni up and to go full-fledged. Most likely, they want metal. I think that would be the gold star. And no sooner that metal just shows up pretty much on their doorstep as they're going to play around this. I think this is going to be a down sooner.
Shout out to the Sable player eating the mushroom at the best time possible, as now getting this reinfection means everything for the seconds on the clock of maybe being able to get another gen done, Excellent play. We are seeing that a long tile such as this one for Krasue can still be extremely difficult to try and get it down. And we still have the gen on 70%, but the survivors are deciding to reset, so we're not working on it. And oh my gosh, really hilarious play from the Sable there, knowing the range and hiding behind that teeny spot on the rock.
Let me tell you, Metal is doing the work. Pulling the team by their shoulders and dragging them along. This is a guided tour around that rock, making sure that Karma knew every crevice of the 2 boulders in between that pallet. But finally, Karma is able to be Metal's first on hook, and happens to be a Scourge hook.
Yeah, we are seeing why Karma decided to commit for the Sable as long as they did, as we know that the PR is going to come in on our highest progressed gen here, and it is going to hit that gen, and it is now, from what it was previously, at about 85% to 60%, and that little bit of percentage points from 20% can mean basically everything on a gen with a 3v1.
Yeah, it's kind of demoralizing. You've worked so hard to get that gen progressing, and you think you are pretty close. Your survivor friend is doing the best they can, really taking the killer on a guided tour, and then all of a sudden you go from being close to getting the gen done to almost. It's just hard to come back from that mentally, but they're going to have to continue on as Zinni gets down, and this will be Zinni's second hook.
We are seeing a gen at 90%. These survivors were doubling that entire time during that chase, and even though it wasn't as long as it could have been, it is absolutely amazing to see from the survivor coordination that they were able to double at the correct time. I'm sure they are absolutely happy with the start that they had to be able to pop all 5 gens. Extremely impressive from the survivor side, and like you mentioned earlier, Zero, Metal honestly might have to take the MVP role for how long they wasted, giving full resets to their team and being able to stall as long as possible on that rock filler.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. He's done a lot of saves here, able to take a lot of times, took a lot of sacrificial hits here. Metal deserved that MVP for the team right here. But also, Karma doing a fantastic job as Krasue, working it very viciously, able to get Metal on their second hook.
And we are
8-9.
seeing...
That makes 9 with 4 fresh. It's looking really good for him.
Yeah, I really do agree with what you have to say there. I mean, interesting play by this Tori here, deciding to maybe try to go for the unhook, but unfortunately we do get spotted, so it's not going to be able to be an unhook. But the survivors should safely be able to make it out to gate. Even though we do have an injury, this is one of the faults of Krasue, is that if you do have... Remember, the Nancy can just body block because she is not infected, so she cannot be hit. And so that is going to secure 2 outs for the survivors. Really, really good result from both sides. Krasue with this many stages is a fantastic result, but also with the survivors having such a bad start, the results that they have now on these outs is really, really impressive. So I'm excited to see how the next game goes, and we'll be right back in a second to see the potential, definitely going to decide the whole outcome of the set.
All right, welcome back to our hopefully final set with Krasue as the killer, as it's Arcadia versus Aphelion. And we are looking at this match. Last game was a 10 hook state, so hoping to get further as the killer, or the survivors hoping to get out with more. We'll see soon. I'm Zero. I'm here with Emmy. Emmy, what does the survivors got to do to win this bad boy?
Thank you for passing it over. It will definitely be our final set, as this is third set with both teams getting 1 point on the board for them. A little bit of a funny thing that happened there with Zinni decided to check on their totems, just making sure no one's on it. But basically what the survivors have to do here, it is a very, very, I would like to say, difficult win con for the killer side specifically. I mentioned earlier, the survivors are very coordinated. It is going to make it extremely difficult for this Krasue to be able to get downs if they are able to take hits, eat their mushrooms when they need to, and not give any free tags. And oh my gosh, absolutely beautiful play from the ace here, showcasing that if you know how to play against Krasue on every tile in the game, you can get so much value. And that's already, we're losing our Ruin and our Thrill. That was two totems.
No.
This is looking like a very, very standard Krasue set where the Krasue is not able to get it down until probably the 3rd gen.
Yeah, this is not looking good, as already 2 perks are just out of play, and soon a 3rd as Corrupt is going to get timed out here soon. They're really, the pressure's really on to get at least 1 survivor on hook, as they're trying their best to get Karma as we speak.
Yeah, absolutely, and we are seeing Zinni not able to get this down. We saw earlier that just a single rock filler can mean everything, and oh no! That is a really unfortunate miss for the Krasue, just a little bit off by the pixels, and I think this will be a hit on Shaq. Yes, it is, and our Nancy here did understand that that was going to be hit regardless, so maybe we tried to send it around Shaq to see, because the window is unfortunately blocked, but getting, I'm assuming with how this match has been playing out, yeah, we are going to see 2 gens on high prog. Nothing popping right now, but having 2 gens for this win con is really, really good for the survivors.
Yeah, I believe that's crowd control. Is that the last perk?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's all you got to work with. That's it. Everything else is going to be based on skill here. Karma with the first hook and 2 gens already done here. The pressure is on for Zinni to try to figure it out to get the remaining survivors hooked.
And yeah, unlike last game, we are seeing basically the survivors play on their A game, and really it shows that they are way more comfortable on a killer like Krasue, understanding exactly where they can and can't be hit, and just wasting as much time as possible. A little bit of an unfortunate little hit with the projectile, and we mentioned earlier all you had was crowd control to play around, but now we don't even have that. We're playing with 0 perks here.
Yeah, I know. I don't. Man, that's just troubling. That's really troubling. I don't think that was a great decision. Luckily, they're able to get Karma again, get him on 2nd hook, and maybe get that 3v1 sooner than Arcadia would like it to be.
I have to give a shout out to the survivors here. I just checked on their gen prog, and they have 2 gens again at around 50%. This is extremely gen efficient from the survivors, and honestly I think Zinni is in a lose-lose position. You can camp this and it's realistically your only opportunity, and we are getting a safe unhook. That's extremely tragic, as Zinni's basically forced to camp the hook. We cannot just leave it. With this win con, we literally cannot leave the hook, but that gives the survivors a perfect opportunity to just get as much gen prog as possible. Excellent down here from Zinni on the ace, but 2 gens at 80%, and yeah, we're just forced to slug. We cannot pick this, as we literally have 0 perks. We don't have a pain res, so we just have to help the phone to find another survivor. And this is a, I believe, I don't know if this counts as the infection on the green. I don't believe so, so we can't even use our power here. That is tragic, and 2 gens pop with the gen efficiency that our survivors are having. This game is, yeah, oh my gosh, and we just lost our infection, meaning we have to reinfect the survivor, and this is where Krasue really struggles against survivors who know what they're doing.
Yeah, this is, oh my goodness, it's just not looking good for Zinni right here with 4 gens done, 1 remaining, really trying to get Karma, and as Ace gets in the way and takes the hit instead, and there's Winters willing to take another hit, putting the firecracker, saying no, don't come through this window.
And yeah, we are seeing main being played. I just checked Karma's POV, excellent check spots. And this is one of the areas that Krasue can just sometimes not secure the really needed down state. This could be a little tricky as we're forced to play 50s, but if Laura is able to play this correctly, then it should force the Krasue to have to change forms, and we are seeing that. Absolutely beautiful play from the survivors, and oh no, I just saw a missed swing even from the survivor POV. Everything is going downhill for the Krasue. We are able to get the down now, but we've been progressing this Shaq gen this entire time. This is really looking like every single thing that could go wrong for the Krasue here going wrong.
Hey, good job on Winters. Just giving a little more time before that hook stage to get that. Officially, Xena's gonna get the 3v1 here, but at what cost? As you can hear and feel the gen progress, and the gen gets locked in. It's done. It's all about getting out with the most that you can here, and all we have is 3 hook states. Just not looking great.
Oh yeah, true. Basically, Zinni is forced to slug here if we get the down, because with our win condition, it is still theoretically possible, but I do believe that even one single out on any of these survivors is just a loss for the killer. So it is still like 90 to 1 for the survivors here, but it's not impossible. If we get this down, and like the
Oh
faster we
no.
get this down, the more plausible it becomes to get the win condition. It's just not impossible with a killer like Krasue, but Ace wasting so much time here, doing excellent for the team.
Yeah, they should have been able to open one of the doors.
Yeah, they definitely did
Oh,
not
is
want to
this gonna
allow
be the
Snowball.
right door? It is not the right. Oh, somebody was there though. Somebody
Oh,
was there. No, peekaboo, you don't see them.
yeah, the survivors deciding to go for the pickup here again. They just don't want to allow this to snowball as much as possible. We are seeing another chase on the Renato, and again,
They
every second that ticks by, you give the
they
survivors a chance.
literally just need one survivor to leave.
Yeah, absolutely. This is why this Krasue
That's
is
it.
deciding to not fully commit to chases, you know? We just need one. We can't allow a single survivor to leave.
One light is left on the door here. The pressure is on. Krasue is really holding tight to the killer shack.
But now that good job forcing Lock. And I don't know about that play to force the Lara out. We really need to get this Renato and stop him from opening the gate. But we see it a little too late. He did not know that the gate was being opened. And this is going to be outs on
Oh
Renato.
no.
Unlucky.
Oh, that was a nice. That was nice played. Nicely played by survivors. Ah, fell for getting Lara out of that, or Winter out of locker. Now uh, that's pretty much set in stone here. Arcadia to take the win.
I will definitely say this game. Imagine the whole set for Krasue could have been completely different if we just had a better start for the last game, I should say, that we saw. It totally could have
Yeah,
been different, and they totally could have possibly
yeah.
taken it home because, again, this many stages for Krasue is still fantastic result for how hard Krasue has to work to get any of these downs, but just one rough start completely determines a game's outcome, and it's exactly the reason why, you know, personally I love watching comp, is that you need to lock in on the early game, mid game, and end game to get good results, as one aspect could go wrong and you could just lose the entire set. But that is going to be it for us today on this set. Zero, I really appreciate commentating with you. Do you
Absolutely.
have any closing thoughts?
No, we just saw really good teams. I think with that last set, I would say personally, I don't know if the perk choices were the best, and also some of the chases took way longer than necessary. But that's something we can learn from. They should be looking at these videos for the future and kind of figuring out the pros and cons of how that went and really studying those, so then they can be better in the future. But either way, great game by Arcadia and Aphelion. Arcadia takes a win here. And yeah, so no, I had a great time commentating with you, and I hope to do it again soon.
Oh, absolutely. We have a bunch of games coming up soon, so we'll be back as soon as possible to go on to our next couple sets. But thank you, everybody. And Zero, I know this will be your last set of the day. So again, I would just like to say thank you so much. It was an excellent opportunity to cast with you.
Yeah, the honor was mine. But yeah, no, it was great. It was great.
All right, we'll be right back with more future matches today. Don't leave the stream yet if you are interested, and we'll be right back.